and welcome back to Funny Old World with me, Juliet Kinsman. This episode is a little bit different. We take you back to London Climate Action Week, where we hosted our own event, Nature in the City. I had lots of different speakers talking about how loving nature is one of the most powerful ways to strive for positive impact, certainly through tourism and hospitality. But we also made that point in a week when many extreme heat events had to be cancelled because of, well, you've probably guessed it, extreme heat. In this episode, I'm excited for you to hear full talk from Brynn Garner, who was there from the Rainforest Trust. She spoke from the heart about biodiversity in a way that stoked the audience's appreciation for the natural world. And I just love this talk, and I hope that you might want to watch it back in full. You can go to our website, Bouteco.co, or you could share this with friends or family. I find it so inspiring. And honestly, listening, liking, sharing, being part of these conversations, telling the algorithms you care about climate, it all helps. We also had Dr. Matt Winning back, who was on the last episode. He was speaking at the event and showing everyone how a climate scientist can also be a stand-up comedian, although it's pretty hard to find anything funny at the moment. I did go and check out his Solastalgia tour, the word Solastalgia referencing us all being nostalgic for a time when we didn't have to worry about climate. It's pretty hard to imagine laughing, but he managed to do that. You'll also hear from Aisling Creevey in this episode, TV weather presenter. I was really honoured to be on her podcast For the Love of Weather, which she hosts with Gemma Plum. She explained on the day, and you can listen back now to how she talks about El Niño, the AMOC collapse, understanding the meteorology behind what's happening. She also has lived the deeply personal effects of the climate crisis. It's so important to hear people speaking honestly, truthfully, not marketing anything, no agenda other than to open eyes, open hearts, share facts so we can better understand what the situation is and what maybe we can try and do to help, because it's clear talking about the weather is no longer small talk. One of the biggest, most significant voices in climate for our time is the UN Secretary-General António Guterres, and it was pretty humbling and special to hear him speak at the official London Climate Action Week Guildhall event. He described all of this in the world right now as a tale of two crises, climate and energy. The world feels like satire at times, doesn't it, right now? As he put it so eloquently, the Earth's tipping points are like objects in a car mirror. They are far closer than they appear. Do you remember when 2030 felt like this far-off sci-fi date, and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals were all pegged on that, with all those jaunty little colours with different goals to eradicate, world poverty, and, well, it's just around the corner. It's really just around the corner. We're missing all our targets, and it feels like a time when many people who care about climate are being silenced, and yet the evidence has never been more palpable, more tangible. It's right in front of us. So I do really have to thank everyone who came to our event. It was a very, very hot first day of summer at Sea Containers London. We hosted it with The Long Run, who is the member organisation that helps celebrate and chaperone, let's say, travel lovers to places and properties that are actively conserving nature and doing more, and that's what we need. So, you even listening to this, liking this podcast, sharing it, telling the algorithms you care about climate and you want to listen to podcasts about climate is helping. So thank you so, so much, and I hope you enjoy these two talks. I'm very excited to introduce Brynn Garner. Where is she? Oh, there you are. Brynn is with us. Well, I'll let her tell. It's her first time to London. So please, what extra welcome. Thank you, Brynn.
Thank you so much. There have been many times where I've thought, who would have thought a girl from a small town in North Carolina would be here? And this is definitely one of those moments. I've spent most of my professional life behind the scenes, so this is the first time I've actually got the microphone in my hand, so I hope you'll give me some grace. I grew up and still live in coastal North Carolina in a town that's tucked in between the Cape Fear River and the Atlantic Ocean. Listening to frogs sing in the marsh after the sun sets and swatting at more mosquitoes than I can possibly count are my daily routine in the summer. when I was growing up, my grandmother and I would walk along the river, and she would always ask me these questions to try to make me think. Where do you think the birds go during a hurricane? Or how old do you think that alligator is? She really always encouraged me to wonder about the world around me, which has prompted some truly off-the-wall questions to the chagrin of my poor mother. And I still wonder, but coming of age in the climate and biodiversity crisis has changed the nature of my wondering. Now I wonder how many years it's going to be before parts of my hometown are underwater. I wonder if I have kids, if I'll have to tell them about red wolves, vaquitas, or golden frogs in the past tense. And I wonder how much longer my generation has to beg our leaders to treat nature as the foundation of our future. Before I started with Rainforest Trust, I spent 5 years working with the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, and I had the privilege of seeing conservation up close on national wildlife refuges and communities and alongside really incredible leaders like Secretary Deb Haaland. If I can ever be 1/10 of the woman that she is, then I will have accomplished something truly amazing. She taught me that conservation isn't just about policy, it's about people, history, responsibility, and what we choose to pass on. My time serving the American people came to an end when we had an administration change. Y'all may have seen it on the news, maybe once or twice in the past couple years. But today I'm really happy to be working with Rainforest Trust, an organization that has helped protect over 68 million acres of threatened tropical forest and habitat, securing the homes of thousands of species across the world. Rainforests cover only a fraction of the land's surface, but they hold an incredible share of our life on Earth. They're home to incredible biodiversity, species that science hasn't described yet, medicines we haven't discovered, and indigenous communities that have stewarded the places for millennia. Protecting nature is one of the most practical investments we can make. Intact forests store carbon, mangroves buffer coastlines from storms, wetlands filter water, and healthy ecosystems support food systems, livelihoods, tourism, culture, and resilience. But we're living through a biodiversity and climate crisis that's so vast that it's really hard to comprehend sometimes. Species are disappearing. Scientists are estimating that between 24 and 150 different plant and animal species are going extinct every single day. In 2025, the world lost tropical primary forest at a rate of 11 football fields every minute. Wetlands are being drained, coral reefs are bleaching, all the places that make the earth feel alive are under pressure. And like I mentioned, protecting nature is a practical investment. But I don't think that we should only protect nature because it's practical or because it's useful. We should protect nature because it's absolutely spectacular. I have never seen a sunset as beautiful as one on the Rio Grande, and the sunrise in Joshua Tree National Park brought me to tears. I've watched Puerto Rican parrots fly overhead and blue-footed boobies dazzle in the Galapagos with their Carolina blue feet, and I live in one of the only places on Earth where magnificent ram's horn snails and Venus flytraps exist, and that is my claim to fame. How extraordinary is this planet, and how lucky am I that I get to call this home? I know many of you are in the hospitality industry, and y'all understand something that we still struggle to communicate in conservation sometimes, that people really remember how a place makes them feel. The view from a rooftop in London and your conscious cocktail in your glass, the sounds of birds in the morning and frogs at night are what make somewhere worth visiting in the first place. But if we invite people to share in the beauty of a place, we have the responsibility to protect the systems that make that beauty possible. So that means investing in nature-based solutions, sourcing and building in ways that respect the ecosystems, supporting local conservation, and telling better stories about nature.
You're doing so well.
Thank you. The next generation is going to ask their own questions. And they may ask where the birds go during a hurricane or how old the alligators are. And I hope that they're asking those questions from wonder, not from loss. I want them to inherit a planet where we don't have to talk about nature in the past tense, but where they can see it, touch it, hear it, and love it for themselves. We protect what we love, and we have to act with enough urgency, courage, and love to protect this planet because it's spectacular and it deserves nothing less. Thank you.
Wow. That was a TED Talk. That was amazing. That was incredible. No notes. Thank you. I did too much raving in the 90s to be able to remember anything like that without notes. We have to protect nature. We do. We also have to understand. We have to understand the weather. I will just say one thing about the rainforest and about nature. My aha moment about biodiversity, and I just want to really spell it out because sometimes people don't really get what biodiversity is. It's the interconnection of all life on Earth. And so picture like Jenga. And if you take out one Jenga piece, it will collapse. And that's what people don't really understand, you know? You may have been gazing out of the window in geography lessons as well, but weather, meteorology, it's actually pretty simple, some of this stuff. And so I'm very, very happy that Ashton Creevey, who is a weather presenter on ITV, meteorologist, will be explaining some of the things we need to know. I'm not sure it's all good news.
Hello. Can you all hear me? There's some irony in the fact I'm so nervous speaking in front of everybody, but I just do it on camera every day without even thinking about it. That last chat was just so lovely. I have those children that ask me questions, which is why I do what I do. I'm a meteorologist, so I'm a scientist first. I'm also a weather presenter. I'm a podcast host. My podcast pal is down there, Gemma Plum, For the Love of Weather. We met Juliet a number of years ago on our podcast. She opened my eyes to so much stuff. But I'm also a mother. I'm a human, and I'm here today because I'm like you. I care. I get a little overwhelmed sometimes with all of the data, the knowledge I have, everything that I know. What can I do? What can I do is always the big question in my mind. Juliet asked me to talk about some of the climate headlines around the world. Have you all heard of El Niño? Okay, so we all know that El Niño is now has officially been declared. Some amazing organizations looking after that part of the world, and it is going to have devastating impact to communities. We're not going to be impacted by El Niño this year or this summer, but what has come into the headlines is that we possibly may reach 40 degrees again next week. So my chat went from thinking about El Niño to trying to explain, right, we're looking at the late autumn, a wet winter, above average rainfall, a dry, cold end to the winter, to, do you know what's happening here next week? We are all connected. El Niño is connected. We're all in the environment. I work in news every single day. And in my weather team, even this morning, we're all sad. Gemma sent me a message late last night. Have you seen the forecast? This is just one number. 39 degrees came into a weather app. If it's coming into a weather app, they undervalue temperatures. What do you do? It's really quite overwhelming. But we can do something. And that's why I'm also here to tell you that. You can do something. We're all having conversations. They all ripple out. The conversation I had with Juliet 6 years ago now changed my life as to how I choose to travel, what I tell my children, what we do when we're on holiday. All of these conversations matter. And in news, we are desperately trying to change that. It is so hard in a country where there's so many other problems. But we are making a change, and we are getting time to talk about climate in our news and our bulletins, and it all feeds into social media. And I guess I'm here as well to say, I've cried a few times because of the weather, and this may seem crazy, but I read about this 20 years ago in Science. 40 degrees was a hypothetical possible future that could happen if we didn't do something about the climate. And it's happened already. It happened in my lifetime. I had 2 premature babies in a heat wave 8 years ago. It has impacted every single part of my life. And when my children ask me, what are you doing with all of the science that you know? And it can actually be quite terrifying to know the amount of data that I do know and understand it in a way they do, but you can all do something. I chose to do something more public and work in news and try and change the narrative in the newsrooms. I'm very fortunate in my newsroom now. I get extra time to talk about these things, not in a terrifying way, but to explain them and to offer solutions. And most importantly, to offer hope. So if there's one thing that you could take away from all of this, is that having a conversation matters, because I have them every day in my newsroom. What I'm saying today, what I was saying in my WhatsApp group this morning with all of our weather presenters, how are we going to push this? If we get away this week without seeing an ice cream shot, now that may seem like a really small thing, that would be an incredible change going forward. Because what's happening this week is because of the climate. It's not just a normal hot spell of weather. Yes, we have those too, but temperatures like 39 degrees and 40 degrees cannot be achieved without the element of climate change. But having conversations can change that. And I hope you go on to have many conversations. Please come and talk to me. I would love to take your details, make contact. It's all about telling stories. And sometimes we're telling a scary story. And actually climate can seem quite scary and daunting. And it upsets me as well. And I think about my children in the future. If there's a frost in the winter, I take a picture of it, because it's quite possible in 15 years' time that frost will only happen once, maybe twice over the winter. The weather and climate matter to me, but so do conversations, because I know they can change things, because they're changing in my newsroom as well. ITV as well are about to release something called Force of Nature. And I know a lot of people that I've spoken to today, including Juliet, are all talking about it from different point of view, human impact, human stories. And this is actually from the point of view of animals. And it is really quite profound and quite something. So there are people that care. There really are. There are storytellers that care, and they're doing stuff. It's feeding into all of our soaps, our broadcasts, everything that we need every single day. Because as we all know, we all care about the climate. But are you going to sit there in the evening and actually watch a half-hour program on it? Probably not. So share. Have a conversation. It makes a difference. No one person can solve everything. I have to remind myself of all this all the time. But all of us together can do something. Everybody can do something. And that is my takeaway message, that everybody can do something, even if it is just having a conversation. Thank you.
Aisling, don't go. Do we have any actual specific weather questions? I want to know about, what is the AMOC collapse?
The AMOC collapse, shall we say?
Yeah. I want to know
the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation has recently crept its way into the news in the last year. It's only been monitored fully for the last 20 years, which may sound like a lot, but in climate terms can be a little bit short, and the evidence is that it's slowing down. What is the AMOC? It's an absolutely huge system that travels through the Atlantic, brings cold air to warm places and warm air to cold places, and makes this beautiful climate what it is here in the UK. And there's evidence of that slowing down.
Aisling, thank you so much for everything. Thank you. Massive thanks. Hope you enjoyed those 2 talks recorded live at our event at Sea Containers London with the long run. It felt especially important to be participating in London Climate Action Week this year, and really poignant to hear Prince William in the London Guildhall. His words really stay with me. He said, "One day people will look back at this decade and ask, when the evidence was clear, what did we do with it? When we saw the energy systems transform, did we fully commit? When we saw communities on the front line becoming leaders in resilience, did we stand beside them? That is the responsibility of this moment." Honestly, over the past year and so much longer for so many, people who've wanted to speak up about climate and sustainability have been shouted down or silenced altogether. So thank you for listening. It is a form of climate activism. Please do share this episode, do share these conversations, engage with the experts that I have the privilege of speaking to. It really does help. And, passing on a podcast that celebrates nature and tries to make sense of the science and the weather behind the climate crisis might seem a small act, but it does help. And until next time, the next occasional unexpected podcast episode of Funny Old World, please let's try and take care of this funny old world of ours.